Hi, welcome back to my High Plains Life. I'm Danielle and it is July 28th. This is episode 24, No More King Sized. Welcome back everybody, and welcome to any new viewers we might have. It's been about 3 weeks instead of 2, but I had to stall out on knitting. It's been so hot lately that I just haven't felt like having anything on my lap, even small projects, even socks. I know, crazy, huh? Instead, I've been doing some quilting, which I will talk about in Under the Needles. So to start, let's start with On the Needles. This past week, I have been getting a lot more done. Let's start with one of my older projects first. My lovely project bag. I know. This is my Celtic Mist shawl. I am all out of yarn, and I am waiting for the next delivery of Madeline Tosh to come into my LYS. This is about how far I've gotten on the cabled edging. About halfway, maybe a third. Maybe a third. And out of yarn. I think I showed this cable off before. I still love it. It's beautiful. This is the Celtic Mist shawl by Asita Krebs. It is a free pattern on Ravelry. This is using Madeline Tosh Pashmina in the worn denim colorway. It is so soft. Like, I can see myself totally wearing this all winter, even with jeans. But I do want to show off my new little chart keeper. Isn't that cute? It's got bicycles on it, and it's got a little zipper pocket back here that I'm keeping my cable needle in. And just pops open. Keep the chart inside, and this is a magnetic, just a little magnetic strip that keeps my place marked. And I love this. I'm loving this. I think the bicycles are so cute. So that is my Celtic Mist shawl. I'm sorry. Dumping it on the floor in front of me. The second thing I've been working on, I've been putting a lot of time into this, and you have not seen this yet, I don't think. This is my Linum tee, and this is in my Bee Splat project bag from Mrs. Brown's Bags. Look at that. Isn't that adorable? I did not buy this. I got this from a friend, and it was a very lovely gift from her. So if you're watching, friend, thank you. And my Linum tee. I'm making it out of Bellolino Classic Elite yarns. It's 58% linen, 26% viscose, and 16% cotton. That was my dog groaning. And this is what the pattern is going to look like. It's the Linum tee by Bristol Ivy. It's got a fisherman's rib asymmetrically at the top. I don't know if you can see that. But I love it. This is a paid-for pattern, and you can, it was originally published in Interweave Knit Scene, summer 2014. So that's what I've been working on, it's bottom up. I don't want to lose stitches. I've got about 13 inches on it so far, and I need to get to 16. I'm on my 4th ball of yarn, and I have 8, I think, so I'm hoping I have enough yarn. I don't know if you can get a good, there, that's a better representation of the color. It's got blues and greens and beige. There, that's pretty accurate. That's pretty accurate. Okay, so far it's been straight stockinette stitch, a little twisted rib at the bottom, and that's it. This is my TV knitting and my knit group knitting. So I've gotten a lot done, but even working in linen, it's still hot sitting on my lap, and I can only knit on it for so long before the linen starts to hurt my hands, not from the way it feels, but because it doesn't stretch when I tension it. So tensioning it, it has no give, so it starts to make my hands ache after a little bit. So again, that's my Mrs. Brown's bags. Bee Splat, I love it. And another project I've been working on forever, it seems, my blueberry waffle socks for my mother-in-law. Well, I've measured her feet. I had to add another inch or so on the instep, on the foot, and I'm ready to do the toe on both of them now. I'm looking to do a rounded toe, a seamless rounded toe, and I can't find a pattern for it. So I'm looking through some free sock patterns to try and find one that has a seamless rounded toe within the pattern. That's what they use instead of doing a top-down Kitchenering the toe. I'm trying to avoid that. Not because I don't know how to Kitchener or don't like it, but I just would like to try something different. So I was hoping to get that rounded toe under my belt. I also have a second blueberry waffle sock on the needles. This is out of opal yarn, and this is out of my, her name is Rusty bags, and she makes them for my local yarn store called You and Me. So, cuff down, 72, sorry, my nose itches, 72 stitches on a round. I think I'm going to have to decrease pretty soon though, because it's, even with my calf, it's still kind of big. So maybe I didn't need to do as many stitches. Oh well. And like I said, this is out of opal yarn. And I can't find the tag. It's their sock yarn. And all of my socks are on 1.5, 2.5 millimeter needles. Because so far that's what I like to use. I think I have pretty regular tension. I don't knit too loose or too tight. And so a 1 and a 5, oh, size 1.5 needle gets me a pretty good sock fabric. So it should be sturdy enough to hold up. As for what I've been stocking Bond Street by Kirsten Kapoor. I saw an example in person and it was gorgeous. The knitter had used about 42 different yarns in it, and it was absolutely gorgeous, and it made me want to knit it all. Looking at the project photos for Bond Street, it does not look as irresistible. So I think the project photos don't really do it justice for what it can look like when it's all finished. So when I'm done with the current shawls I'm working on, I think that might be one of my next cast-ons. I'll have to go through and collect scraps and leftovers of yarn. So, oh, I also meant to say that my Linum tee and my blueberry waffle socks with the opal yarn are also good for the Colors of the Season KAL hosted by Tea House Knits. So that's one thing I am knitting them for also, or that's one KAL I'm knitting them for. And I have been doing no spinning. It's too hot. The wool just sticks. As far as under the needle, I have been doing a ton of quilting. Nicole's wedding quilt top is all complete, borders and all, and it's off to the quilters. I'll get it back just in time to bind it before the wedding. Hopefully I get the binding done. If not, they can have the quilt after the wedding. It's not going to be cold enough weather by then anyway. So August is very busy for me though. So I'm hoping that I have time to finish the binding after it comes back from the quilters. I will try and insert a picture of it here. This is a king-size quilt. It's about 110 inches wide by 100 inches long, and I'm never making another king-size quilt again, ever. It's so heavy. It was way too big to maneuver. Not necessarily through my sewing machine and on my sewing table, but just maneuvering it, period. Like holding it up, pinning on borders. It was just so heavy that there is so much material. I am never going to do another king-size quilt again. You heard it here, folks. Swear on my honor, on my Girl Scout honor, never do another king-size quilt again. Well, at least for the rest of this year. We'll see. In the garden, perennials have been blooming and growing. Somehow I have a random cornstalk growing in my front yard. Go figure. It's just a volunteer that started growing up on its own. I'll try and include a picture of it here too, because it's just kind of hilarious. Excuse me. You have all these perennials, blooming flowers, and then a cornstalk. It's kind of cute. I left it there. I didn't pull it. I thought, why not? It's green. It's not a weed. I'll let it grow. My hops have been growing like gangbusters. They're about 10 to 12 feet long now. And the hops have begun to form. I've got the hops flowers on them and budding, and I will have to keep an eye on them to know when it's the right time to harvest. In the bee yard. It looks like the last swarm I caught was good, and I got the queen. I haven't checked on them, But I've had bees coming and robbing out the frames left from when we did the honey extraction here on my front porch. So I just stacked up the boxes on my front porch, and aside from attracting a few ants, which did not make the husband happy, it's been attracting bees too. And I think the bees have come from my hive. So, yay! I need to haul 1 or 2 of those honey supers out and throw that extra box on top of them, especially if they've been collecting honey. I need to give them some place to put it. It's just been so hot, I haven't felt like putting on jeans and going and throwing on my gear. But I know I need to do it. So maybe it'll happen tomorrow. Maybe. Because the only way to find out what's really going on in the bee yard is to visit. And I just need to make that commitment and do it. So that's it for In the Bee Yard. Off topic. I have been sucked into the Legacy Knits podcast with Chelsea and Sue. It is the Legacy Knits Nerds group on Ravelry, and they are hilarious. Sue does a Periscope every morning, and then Chelsea and Sue together do the podcast Legacy Knits. And Chelsea just moved to Vermont, so they've been doing them via Skype, I think, or FaceTime. But the first 90% of the episodes, I can't remember how many they've got, maybe 20 or so. All the first episodes are done in Connecticut, where Sue lives and where Chelsea used to live. So I have been sucked into it. They are hilarious, funny together. It's a mother and daughter team, and they're so warm and personable. And you just want Sue to be your mother and Chelsea to be your sister. It's a really good podcast, and I urge you to give it a shot if you're interested. As I mentioned before, I've got a couple projects going for the Colors of the Season KAL, hosted by the Tea House Knits podcast. And it started June 1st, and it goes through August 31st. So if you're interested in playing, there's still time. Go ahead and make something in the colors of the season that inspire you and cast on. Or are you playing in any other KALs? What do you guys have going on? Are you doing Stash Dash? Have any of you done Tour de Fleece? Let me know. I'm interested to know what you guys are knitting, and if you're participating in any KALs or, other knit or spin-alongs. And if so, what are they? Mr. High Plains Life did a 1,000-mile motorcycle ride last weekend. Within one day, within 24 hours, you have to ride 1,000 miles in order to earn your Iron Butt certificate. I think he's crazy, but he wasn't the one who really wanted the certificate. One of our friends was, and so my husband just thought he'd ride along with him. Who says to themselves, I think I'll just ride along for 1,000 miles with my friend because he needs company. I don't know. If, in case you didn't notice, I did not go. I was the smart one who stayed at home and went to knit group. So that's what's been going on in my life. I visited with my parents. My mom and dad came to stay with me for a week. My mom's the one who cracked the whip and got me to finish that quilt top. She did some work on it too. So we finished that quilt top for the wedding together. I have been doing some other quilting, but not anything finished to show you at this time. And watching some podcasts, pulling weeds in my garden. It's a never-ending cycle. And that's it. That's pretty much been my last couple weeks. What have you been up to? Leave a note, drop a note in the Ravelry group episode thread. I'd love to hear. So that's all I've got for you today. You can find me as DannyGirlCO on Instagram, Ravelry, and Periscope. And you can find show notes for the show at www.myhighplainslife.blogspot.com. So thanks for joining me today. Bye!